Good morning, Tristan White here. Welcome to the Think Big, Act Small morning show. Really nice to be with you on a Thursday morning. Today we're going to be talking about leading effective team meetings. Leading effective team meetings, how do we do it? How do we review our existing meetings? How do we refine? How do we improve? How do we make these team meetings important and useful for us, and also important and useful and a bit of fun for everyone that is attending today. So, if you're here with me, please do welcome. Please do say hello in the comments. Sorry, I was a bit distracted. I was trying to make sure we were live here because I wasn't sure it was working out. But let's give it a shot. I will keep going. It does look like we are live, which is reassuring. So if you are here with me live, then please do say hello. If you are on the replay, please do the same. Happy for you to. I promise to circle back and comment and answer any questions you might have. And lastly, if you'd like to. If you'd like to get in touch offline, tristan@tristanwhite.com.au is the way to do that. Now, my name is Tristan White, by the way. That makes a lot of sense. I believe the world needs more great places to work. The Think Big, Act Small morning show is here on Tuesday and Thursday mornings, 8:45 a.m. to 9 a.m. Melbourne, Australia time. I wasn't here on Tuesday just gone, and if you were here, I am sorry. It was Melbourne Cup Day, public holiday, where I am in Victoria, and I wasn't at work and I didn't do the show, so I am sorry. I know Carmel, who's in Perth, and no public holiday in Perth for Melbourne Cup Day, was looking for me, so I am sorry about that, Carmel, and if that applies to you, I am sorry about that. Let me check these comments. Jeffrey's here. G'day, Jeffrey. Nice to have you with me on a Thursday morning. Ruth's here. G'day, Ruth. How are you? Nice for you to be with us as well. Thank you. And Carmel, yes, she has arrived, and perfect timing today. Thank you, Carmel, for being here. Sorry about Tuesday. I hope you can forgive me. Rightio, I'm going to talk today about the idea of leading effective team meetings. In my experience, learning how to be a good communicator one-to-one is really powerful and important for us leaders. But then once we start creating a team and leading a team, we need to understand and learn how to have an effective team meeting to make sure that everyone is feeling heard, is communicated to, is aligned and connected to other people, and we can work together. But team meetings, it can be stressful. They can be hard to organize. They can feel like they're boring. They can be draining for the leader. They really can be draining, and they really can be quite stressful for the leader. And if your team feels like they're not valuable, then it can be very hard to get your team together. A bit like herding cats in some ways it can be. So today I want to share a few suggestions as to how we can improve our team meetings. You might have ripper team meetings that might be working really well for you, in which case don't stuff them up, don't change them. By the same token, consider the ideas, consider how you can review and refine them. And if you're not having a regular team meeting just yet, I'd really encourage you to consider adding that in. In my experience, a short weekly team meeting and a little bit of a longer monthly team meeting is the best rhythm once you've got more than five or so team members. If you've got between 5 and 15 team members, I reckon that rhythm is really important to try and get down. I know it's tricky when you've got part-time team members, and I know that that finding the right time, the right place is a challenge. We can't please everyone, but we need to organise it so it suits the most people we can, and we also need to make it valuable and interesting so people want to come to our team meetings, because if they don't want to come, they'll easily find a reason or excuse or a suggestion that it's not as valuable for their time. So that's the setup. As we get started and as I share a couple of tips for you, I did want to ask, how are you going with your current team meetings? Have a think. Even consider rating your own team meetings. If you had to give yourself a rating out of 10, 10 being ripper team meetings, I love them, the team seem to turn up and get good value out of them, 10 out of 10 it is. If it's round 5, they're sort of okay. Sometimes it's hard to get the team together. I think they work, but I'm not sure. I guess that's more towards a 5. And if they really suck, and I really despise having to organise them, and it's really impossible, then I guess you're on the low end. And I think that's one of the first things we can do as leaders is review our current reflect, refine, rate our current meetings and our current performance, so that then we've got a baseline and we can try and improve them from there. Carl says a couple of things here. I agree with the herding cats, yes. and also only 5 team members, but hard to get together weekly. And Ruth says around a 6 out of 10. Ruth, good. Thank you for reflecting, and thank you for sharing with us. I appreciate that. Please do share away. Happy to help. Now, the answer, as I said, in my experience, is regular team meetings, and a few tips. Let me have a look at my notes here. Tips for effective team meetings. In my experience, organise a time and then start on time with a smile. So important. If you say you're going to have a meeting, you better turn up yourself, get it started, and start on time with a bit of a smile. Make it hopefully bring a bit of energy to the start of the meeting. That's the first tip. Really simple. Next one is do have an agenda so that people know what you and others know what we're going to work through in the next 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, whatever time limit you do put on it. You don't have to have long meetings. They don't have to be an hour sort of meeting. Short and sharp is often better, but do have an agenda. I know a coach I used to work with said, no agenda, no attender. I'm not turning up unless we've got an agenda. So I think that is certainly worth considering. Alrighty, on said agenda, have something that everyone can contribute to. A meeting where everyone gets a chance to speak, engage, share, ask a question or the like is much more interesting for every person there. Otherwise, I've been to meetings where I sit there and I just receive. And it's a bit boring. When I'm actively part of the meeting, it's a hell of a lot better. So have something on the agenda that everyone can contribute to. Ideally, everyone knows what the agenda is, because you get a bit of a rhythm of going through the same thing on a regular basis, and you ask people in advance to contribute to this part of the agenda. Works really, really well. Use specific and inclusive language. Don't talk about all of us. Talk about the things we need to do in this part of our business at the front desk, or when we work with clients, or in our cash finance team or cash collection. Be very specific with what you're talking about, and include people in the conversation. Don't use lots of you need to do that, you need to do that. Be inclusive. Say, Carmel, this is something I'd really love to work with you. I'd love to see an improvement from you with this thing. Use specific and inclusive language is really, really valuable. Remember, the most beautiful word in the entire language, entire English language, or the entire world for every person in the world is their own name. Is their own name. When people hear their own name, they pay attention. So use that to your advantage to connect and make and pay attention and get people to align and connect with what you're saying. And lastly, ask for feedback on the meeting. That's why I asked you to rate them a few minutes ago. I wanted you to rate your meetings, and this is putting yourself out there. But say at the end of a team meeting, everyone, thanks for being here. I appreciate you. I want these to be valuable for you. I want them to be valuable for us. So let's rate them. Can you please bravely rate this meeting out of 10 or out of 5 or whatever scale you want to use? Collect the information. If people give you a high score, ask them why. If people give you a low score, ask them why, and improve. Again, you're never going to meet everyone's expectations, and please don't take these ratings to heart as if they're a personal attack. They're not. They're a rating on how that person felt the last 30 minutes went, and we need to do our best to, a bit like little aths or any sort of junior sport competition, where we just try and get a little bit better and get a little bit better and get a little bit better. That's what the concept here is. So that is the second last tip. And the last one I want to share with you is end on time with a smile. With a smile, really important. End on time. So if you said it was going to go from 11 a.m. to 11:45, watch the clock at 11:40. Let people know we've only got a few minutes left. These are the last thing I want to get through. I do want to rate this meeting, so please, last thing, we're going to go to 11:43, and then we'll do a quick rating, and we'll wrap it up. We'll be out of here by 11:45. Really important to watch the clock, do what you said you would do, and get out of there on time with a positive energy to wrap up the meeting as well. And probably, I didn't have it on my notes, but I need to add this with you or to share with you. When the meeting ends, have a separation. And I guess you can clap your hands. That wasn't my intent. But if you were in a virtual meeting, you're on Zoom, Everyone, thanks for being here. I appreciate you. Have a great day. Give a wave and then end the meeting virtually. Or if it's in person, very similar, wrap it up, close your laptop, close your notes, up you get, leave the room, stand up, do something to separate yourself from the meeting because the meeting has now ended and we need to make it clear that that has happened. And similarly at the start, meeting's on, we're into the action and meeting is now closed, we're out of here, is really important stuff. So that's it. They are the 6 tips plus one that I wanted to share with you this morning. As we get towards the end of this Think Big, Act Small show, I'm interested to know, any of those things resonate with you as to something you might grab and refine or improve your own team meetings? Or are you doing all those things, it's working well, you're not necessarily, there was nothing there that really resonated? Interested to know that. Feel free, type in the comments and or get in touch, tristan@tristanwhite.com.au. We've only got a couple of minutes left. If you've got a question, please feel free to type it in the comments. Otherwise, I'll remind you that in the caption that goes with this little show, there's always the download option to download the Next Level Leadership Guide, which might be helpful, which covers things like how to build trust in your team, how to build accountability in your team, and how to build a stronger culture in your team. And there's also a link to order a free copy of the Culture is Everything book as I look around to try and, yes, I've got one right here. I knew I had one. I was using it yesterday, but that is the Culture is Everything book that hopefully you can see there. If you'd like to order a free copy for yourself or for someone else, the link is in the notes here. tristanwhite.com.au is the right website to go and check that out. Jeffrey writes in the comments here, one of the things that he's working on is making it relevant each attendee. Yep, really important, Jeffrey. Make sure it's relevant and interesting. The whole thing won't be interesting to everyone, but at least parts of it are interesting and engaging for each person there. And Jeffrey also writes, getting feedback and timing the end of the meeting to make it doable and end on time. Yep, I'm really pleased that you like that, Jeffrey. I've learned to watch the clock very closely. It didn't come naturally. And sometimes we get to that example, 11:40, and we're like, oh, we've got 3 more things to get through. How are people positioned? Do we have an extra 5 minutes? Can we push to 11:50? Check with people. Give them permission to say, I'm really sorry, I've got somewhere I need to be soon after. We need to wrap it up. And in that case, you decide what's important and you might need to keep something for the next meeting. So that is the suggestion. Carl writes, thanks for those tips, Tristan, all useful. I'm writing the agenda for today's meeting as we speak. Yes, Carmel, awesome, really good. Carmel, I'll give you one tip about an agenda, which I think is really important, and is also how we can get people to engage right from the start. I always love to start meetings with asking for, share some good news, personal and professional, and let people know and have something yourself. A personal piece of good news I shared yesterday at our weekly team meeting for the Physio Co is that we had a big storm in Victoria last Friday. And that big storm ended up with knocking something over and breaking some glass panel fence in our backyard, and then some bits of glass toppled into our pool, which is a bit of a disaster. And so I shared that challenge, and I shared that I spent the long weekend diving into the pool, trying to get the glass out of the pool. And it was a long, drawn out, sort of stressful situation, but I shared it, and it helps hopefully to connect and realize that we've all got our own challenges and accidents and things that happen. So do ask for good news, so the good news there was the glass out of the pool, but do share the ups and downs and ask people to contribute what's going on in their personal and or professional life. I think is really, really important. Ruth writes, always have issues with staff going on tangents in the meeting. Any tips? Yes, I do have some tips, Ruth. You let people know that their ideas are important, but we're going to capture it, and we're going to capture it, and if we've got time at the end, we'll come back to that idea, or we'll put on the agenda for the next one. But the team meeting is not one for necessarily. A regular team meeting, a weekly, is not necessarily for new ideas to be raised and discussed. We can park them, we can have a longer meeting once a month, or we can have a planning workshop once a quarter, and give someone the job of being the scribe or the note taker or the idea catcher. Capture those ideas, put them on a whiteboard, put them on a Google Doc, put them on a shared doc, whatever you like, and say, thank you, wrapped to have that idea. Let's park it and let's come back to it another time. That is my best suggestion. It takes a bit of work and it takes a bit of practice, but that, I reckon, Ruth, is my best suggestion for that. So what do you reckon, Ruth? Can you give that a shot? Can you give that a go to overcome the challenge of people, I'm not sure, hijacking the agenda possibly is the right term there, is probably the way I see it. But Carmel writes, starting doing that a few months ago. Oh, the personal and professional news, that's excellent. Thanks, hold on to that thought, says Jeffrey. Hold on to that thought. Yes, that is the way to do that. Ruth writes, I like the suggestion to put it on the agenda for next meeting. It means they don't feel I'm dismissing them. Exactly. And Ruth, in my experience, they are heard, it's captured, it's on the agenda. If it's appropriate for the entire team, it can come back for next meeting, or you and that person can have a one-to-one conversation offline, and maybe it will get resolved without having to involve the entire team. Or lastly, by the time the next meeting comes around, it may not be relevant, it may not be important. Again, we're not saying it's not important, we're just saying now is not the right time for us to have a chat about it. Alrighty, today's joy at the start of every meeting is what Carmel writes. Yes, what is the joy? What is the joy that you've got going on? That is excellent. Alrighty, Ruth, Carmel, Jeffrey, thanks for being here. If you've been live, thanks for being here. If you're on the replay, nice to have you at the Think Big, Act Small morning show. Feel free to comment and get in touch. It is 9:02. I am 2 minutes late for my 9 o'clock meeting. I better go. Thanks for being here. I'll be back next Tuesday, 8:45 a.m. Melbourne, Australia time. Between now and then, please remember, think big, act small. See you later.